Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about The Shy Hero and the Assassin Princesses, Season 1, Episode 6. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So, this episode follows the expedition that our quartet is going on. This was something I think Goa set up last episode, being like, oh, it'll be kind of this fun thing of us going out for a couple days at a time. The main motivation didn't even seem to be like, oh, it'll give us more opportunities to kill him. It's there. The implication is there, but it's never really followed through on because none of them. The only one who made an actual attempt the entire trip is Seal, and that's only because the opportunity presented itself. So she's like, well, I might as well take advantage of it because it's right here in my face. But like, no one else literally took one. Well, because Toto is carrying all this stuff, and I guess his main from Seal's perspective, it's like, I don't want you fainting, because if you faint, that just means like I'm actually the one who always has to carry you with my magic every time you faint. I love that little background information because usually they're pretty much staying in the same location, but he does faint in inconvenient locations, so it's just kind of nice knowing, like, it makes a lot of sense considering how big and heavy he is. It makes sense that Seal's the one who has to do the heavy lifting, and on top of that, he's carrying not only their equipment for like their tents and stuff like that, but he's also carrying because the mission isn't just like traveling, it's also about delivering something, but it's extremely heavy, so no one wanted to take this particular job. So obviously it's not too much for Toto. He's crazy strong, but so for Seal, it's like, hey, I don't want you fainting, get your crap together. Wind blowing up her dress and he faints, and she kind of takes a little responsibility, be like, it's kind of my fault. Then you also have Anemone like going crazy. She's going cold turkey because she can't smoke like she wants to, and I love that immediately while she's panicking, trying to figure things out. I loved, and her being kind of in a bad mood, or at least something up to the point Toto's like, oh, you seem like you're kind of down. And literally Goa and Seal like, she wants to smoke right now. And so she made an excuse to make him faint, just not even an attempt so they can talk about some of their plans of how they're going to kill him. It's just so she could get a smoke break. So their trip is kind of going slow, but Goa's enjoyed all of this because for her, it's like, yeah, we might not be making the biggest and greatest amount of progress, but the fact is we're having fun along the way. And for her, that means a lot because it is an interesting thing because there's a bandit that shows up. They're trying to steal the stuff, but for one, the package is very heavy, which showcases like this guy had to use his powers to enhance his strength, and even then he was still struggling to carry it with both hands and couldn't even lift it above himself. But then you have like Toto easily carrying it with one arm, like holding it above like his shoulder and stuff. But then we find out that Goa seems like she's kind of always, I think out of any of the crew, she's the most prep heavy because she's coated it in something. I don't know if she was doing that just for fun, just to see, because she knows like Seal and Anemone have gained Seal is always prepared. She's got a magic barrier up to protect her from anything Goa might toss her way. And Anemone's even said, like, I might actually be getting a resistance to some of this, or maybe she has, stuff ready and planned in advance to kind of protect her from anything. And obviously Toto has a natural resistance to anything that Goa does, so it's never a concern about the rest of this party because the guy showed up being like, oh, I'm gonna sell you guys or whatever. But for Goa, it's like, oh no, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna let anyone take them away from me because these are my toys and I like playing with them. And so there's a sinister element behind. I mean, and it kind of goes in line with who Goa is personality-wise, that she is kind of like this madam who likes kind of controlling people. But it's also like, these are my new favorite toys, but I like that I can't control them. Like, yeah, they're kind of puppets on my strings, but there is a little free will here. But I am kind of this master manipulator where I want things to kind of go my way. And I'm having fun because they're not so... Her whole reason for starting this is like getting the hero to bend the knee and like bend to her will, and the fact that she hasn't been able to fully do that and get Anemone or Seal to all kind of bend the knee, like that's why she finds him so fascinating, because it's quite the challenge. But also there's a part of her that's kind of not trying anymore, even though she kind of is. It's a weird, like, enigma that Goa is in that capacity, where it's like she likes to control, but she's also hands off with it. So it's like it's a little bit of everything with her. And she doesn't tell anyone about the bandit that tried to make an attempt. She was actually enjoying it because she's like, oh my God, this is so much fun. Because Goa, she presents herself to have this very like bubbly personality, but obviously we've seen time and time again that she has that deeper, sinister layer to herself. And so no one was the wiser about what was going on. And so she left the bandit enchanted and falling in love with a stump, I guess thinking that it was Goa. And they just kind of go on their way. And I think the next day is when they end up stopping for food. And Seal and Toto go fishing because Seal was trying to pretend like she didn't care about it. But it's like, no, she's always up for those new experiences. And obviously she immediately goes, oh wait, fishing is boring. And so Toto tries to make things more exciting. It's like, oh, I'll go get a fish for her. And she uses her gravity magic to like sink him. Like, oh, I'll put like a ton of weight on you. A literal ton on you. And nope, that still wasn't enough. You easily came back up. Turns out it was a monster, not an actual proper fish. They get sprayed. They kind of get inked. But then they laugh about it. Then they get in the water. Play a little bit. And then also catch some fish. Because for Seal, it's the situation of, in her head, she's trying to justify by being like, I haven't lost. The fact is that everyone here on this team are my enemies. No one here is like my real friend, even though they are. But it's still like keeping up these pretenses of I have a job to do. And I know that. I haven't lost sight of that. But that doesn't mean it can't have a little fun along the way. And so ultimately when they're eating fish, she flashbacks to like, right, her being, of royalty. There's a certain etiquette in how she's supposed to eat. It's also indicative if you look at it. She's at this long table. It seems like she's probably by herself. She probably doesn't even get to spend time with her dad in that capacity. And so she's learning the proper etiquette to eating. And she spent so much of her life kind of constrained into what people have high expectations of her. But we've also delved into it last episode about the whispers and the like, I don't know, belittlement isn't the right word, but the way people look down upon her, thinking she's not good enough. So she's kind of had to deal with two folds, and those can be suffocating aspects of her life. But like, no one judges her. In fact, the crew thinks she's great, and then she gets to have fun, and no one judges her for it or tries to restrict her. She has so much freedom here, so she's kind of just able to sit back and enjoy it. And when they finally arrive, they turn in the job. And Seal and Anemone are just chilling, talking about like, hey, we can't let this go on forever. It's like, right, we can pass, she's like, I'm just going to observe for now. I'm not going to take my shot at the hero, even though today is my turn. But it's like, it's because for her, it's like, well, we can take it slow. We don't have to immediately use our turns to try and kill him, but we can't let this go on forever. She's like, don't let this be some excuse situation of like, oh, you're making an attempt that's going to take like a year in prep. It's like, we need to kind of nip this in the bud immediately so we're not stuck on this journey forever. And Anemone chastising her a little bit and teasing her about the whole aspect of, like, because Seal made a remark of, well, who'd want to go on this journey like forever except for the hero? And then Anemone's kind of poking fun at her because it's like, well, obviously you would do. Like, Anemone's enjoying the ride, but she's probably not as like overt about it like Goa and Seal are. Well, Seal's trying to hide it. Goa's the most overt about like, yo, I'm having fun and I'm embracing this, whereas Seal tries to pretend like she's not having fun. Anemone's having fun too, but she's burying it even more than Seal is. Because it like, Seal can only contain herself so much before it starts leaking out, whereas like, Anemone's kind of got that pretty on lock. So afterwards, they end up meeting up at a clothes store because Anemone's like, yo, our journey's going so slow because you keep fainting. So she's going to try out new clothes. First thing they have her put on is like essentially a diver's uniform, diver's suit, because it's like, hey, cover up everything. But then she puts on something that looks very assassin-y. I love that literally everyone, both Goa, Seal, and even Toto are like, makes you look like an assassin. But it's like, oh, it's nice, it's fine. But like, what really knocks Toto out is the smile. And that's kind of what Seal's takeaway. It's like, okay, so the trigger isn't just like, something like, ooh, like very itchy or like perverted happening. It's more so a thing of, okay, so as long as we wear something that can cover our faces, that might also help, because it's like their smile and them being like cute or sexy is what, throws them into a loop too. So Seal has Anemone put on like a mascot outfit, and she's all about it because she's just using this as an excuse to be like, oh my god, this is so cute, wear this. But the Anemone doesn't want to wear it. And then it's like, well, why am I the only one that has to wear it? What about Goa? And Goa's like, well, what's wrong with my outfit? And it's like, why are you not self-aware enough to know? And so she's trying on stuff, but she still knocks Toto out 2 times in a row. And then it goes back to all 3 of them wearing mascot outfits, which Anemone's the only one who's not for it. They're that cute little mascot outfit. And then finally, Anemone wears what is essentially looks like an office worker uniform. Like it's just pants and a shirt. And they're like, oh, it's from a foreign land, because it looks like a very modern, like, business attire suit that you probably like see, like I said, an office worker wear. And I thought it was interesting, like, once again, Anemone kind of being like, so it's such a conflict of interest, where she was annoyed because she's like, oh, he says like, oh, you look really good in it. Everyone else says too, because the only thing she's covering her face with is like these glasses. But for her, it's like, it's actually kind of annoying. She's like, for whatever reason, this doesn't make you faint, so that does kind of bother me to some extent. It's like, you complained about him fainting, but now you're also like complaining that he's not fainting because you're wearing this. But then like she kind of gave like a sexy look unintentionally that made him faint. So it's like, then what was the whole point of all of this? If so that's the irony behind it all. And so at the end of the day, Anemone just goes back to wearing what she was wearing. So I don't think they kept any of the outfits, but it was just kind of a nice change of pace. But in that moment, Toto's like, I promise you, I keep letting you guys down because I'm fainting all the time. So he's like, I'm going to try my best to bring my fainting down to 0. And then the trio are like, nah, don't worry about that. Like, that's actually inconvenient for us because we actually need you to faint. Like, that being a part of your character actually helps us. And it's like, yeah, if it ain't broke, why fix it? And he's just like, I'll never understand women. It's like, yeah, so what was the whole point of all this, when they're just kind of like, right, why are we trying to stop you from fainting? I mean, we talk about the inconvenience of it, but it really helps us in the long run when we're trying to kill you and when we're trying to strategize and need you out of the way so we can talk, assassin stuff. So it's like, it's kind of all for nothing, but just kind of a cute little side thing they kind of went through this episode. And it also just helped, create better bonds and just made Toto realize the thing of, man, I don't understand women, which, we've kind of known that from the beginning. But then, like, the ending of the episode kind of sets up the next leg of their journey, because when they dropped off this particular job, the package and stuff, they ended up learning that normally, like, it's a different town that normally transports, like, supplies or whatever, but this place had lost contact with them. And so the moment our quartet gets there, the guard is like, oh yeah, this place is full of love. And you're like, okay. So there's some kind of spell or enchantment on this town that kind of make them sort of in love. Video game reference I'm about to make kind of gives me vibes of if you played Persona 5 Strikers, like the first... God, I forgot what they're called. They're jails instead of palaces, but the first... They're not monarchs, are they? I actually forgot what the name of, like, the rulers of the jails are. They're not... Are they monarchs? I don't remember. Either way, like, the first one kind of has, like, a enchanting power similarly, so it makes me think of that. But it just, outside of my, like, referencing Persona Strikers in that regard, it's interesting, too, be considering, like, well, Goa's on the team, and whatever's happening in this town seems very similar to what Goa does, because Goa basically enchants people. We've seen it this episode. So I'm curious to see if there ends up being any correlation. Either the person who's done this to this town is similar to Goa, or maybe there's a connection between them and Goa. I think that'd be interesting. Just, I don't know, like, you kind of have like a pseudo siren on your team, and someone's kind of enchanted this town like that. So, like I said, I don't know if there's any correlation. even if there's not a direct correlation to Goa and them, Goa might be the person that could probably break the spell because she probably would understand it better than anyone else, being who she is and how she operates. Just a fascinating setup for the next episode. So I'm curious to see what this whole situation in this town ends up being, who's orchestrating it, and how our heroes deal with it. I wonder, is it going to be a thing of because will Toto, will anyone on the squad be affected? You would assume not, because Seal and Anemone have their own resistances to what Goa does, and the same thing for Toto. So you would assume none of them would be affected by what's going on here, but we'll have to wait to see, especially with the setup of Goa being yo, I don't want anyone taking my toys away from me. So that potentially being played up in the next episode with them being controlled would be really interesting. But like I said, they have their resistances, but maybe it's something even they can't resist. Even Toto might fall prey to it. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out next episode. But really, that's all I want to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.